Before you take advice from another shiny sober guru in a beige hoodie and a ring light with the emotional depth of the fridge magnet, let me tell you who the actual fuck I am. My name's Callaghan, and I'm not here because I had a dramatic rock bottom moment and I didn't wake up in a ditch, face down, and see the face of God in a fucking traffic cone and think I'll be a better man by lunchtime. My story's a bit more dangerous than that. From the outside, a lot of it still worked. I was functioning. I was capable. I could hold things together. I could work. I could solve problems. I could be useful. I could be funny if I wanted to. I could be the person that other people came to when their own life had gone sideways. And that is the part that people do not understand. You do not have to be lying in a gutter to be completely fucking trapped. Sometimes the cage has a mortgage, a job title, a clean shirt, a decent vocabulary, and a nervous system running on fumes. I've been in the army 12 years, Queen's Dragoon Guards, finest cavalry regiment in the British Army. Recce troop, yes, the best recce troop. Belize, Bosnia. Long days, hard ground, dark humour, and enough internal pressure to wire a man slightly wrong for the rest of his fucking life. Before that, I'd worked in kitchens since I was a kid. Proper kitchens, heat, knives, pressure, timing, all of it. Sweat, blood, tears, noise. And food that came from fucking ingredients, not plastic trays dressed up as health. Later I spent 25 years as an IT technical architect, solving complex problems for a living. Systems, networks, security, failures, load, bottlenecks, outputs. The funny thing is, that language would eventually explain how my own life better than any recovery slogan ever did. Because I didn't have a motivational problem, I had a system under load. But I didn't know that then. I just knew I could not switch off. So I drank. I did not drink like a man enjoying a nice glass of red with dinner. I drank like a man trying to turn the volume down on being alive. Alcohol was not a treat. It was not relaxation. It was not sophistication. It was sedation in a nicer glass. It was anaesthetic with a very good PR firm. I drank for 45 years. 45 years of alcohol being woven into everything. Stress, celebration, boredom, loneliness, food, sex, grief, anger, football, weekends, good days, bad days, all of it. Days with a vowel in, days with a Y in. Done it all. And that's how it gets to you. It does not always arrive wearing a monster mask. Sometimes it arrives in a pint glass with your mates laughing, the pub's warm, the stories are funny, and your nervous system's quietly assigning another contract you never remember agreeing to. Then there was the coke, the cigarettes, 40 a day at one point, Benson and Hedges, then the other little chemical escape hatches, Painkillers, Diazepam, anything that promised a few hours away from the internal fucking weather. And here's the truth. I wasn't chasing fun, not really. I was regulating, badly, expensively, destructively, but regulating. And that's the part that most people miss. They look at the behaviour and call it weakness. They look at the drinking and call it a lack of willpower. They look at the smoking, the coke, the scrolling, the sugar, the porn, the anger, the chaos, and they think behaviour is the problem. It's not. The behaviour is the output. The system underneath is fucking screaming, and my screams screamed for fucking years. Anxiety, depression, insomnia, dark thoughts, suicidal ideation. Yes, I had those. That private little room in your head where you do not necessarily want to die. But you're so fucking tired of carrying yourself that disappearing starts to look like a plan. I know that room. I've sat in it. I'm not going to insult anyone watching this by dressing it up in soft lighting and a fucking wellness quote. It's brutal, it's lonely, and the worst part is you can still be making jokes while you're in there. And that's the bit that people forget. Some of the funniest people you know are fighting a war behind their eyes. For years, I tried to understand myself, and that's what led me into coaching, NLP, meditation, Reiki, hypnotherapy, nutrition, mindfulness, behaviour changes, the whole system. I read every book there was, and then I read the next bookshelf. Human patterns. I was not collecting certificates to look clever on a website. I was trying to work out why humans keep doing the things that they fucking keep doing that are destroying them. And yeah, I was one of those human beings. And that matters because theory is fucking lovely. Theory sits in a clean room with a nice pen and a smug little diagram. Lived experience wakes you up at 3 a.m. when your heart's battering your ribs, sweat on its back, mouth like a fucking carpet, and a brain already negotiating the next escape route. I lived inside that room, and I coped from the outside, and eventually those two worlds collided. I didn't quit drinking because I had a dramatic rock bottom. There was no courtroom, no hospital bed, no divine intervention, no family gathering where everyone sat me down like a low-budget Christmas special. I just reached a point where the lies became too heavy, and that's the only way I can describe it. The lie was heavier than the drink. The lie that I was relaxing, the lie I needed, the lie I deserved it, the lie that it was helping, the lie that life without it would be smaller, duller, harder, emptier. And one day, I just saw the machinery, not as a moral failure, not as a character defect, not as some lifelong disease identity I had to wear around my fucking neck. I saw it as a system, a loaded system, a pressured system, a system producing predictable outputs. And that changed everything. Because once you see the system, you stop arguing with the symptom. I didn't need another label. I didn't need a new personality built around not drinking. I did not need to stand up in a room for the rest of my life introducing myself as fucking Ian the alcoholic. What I needed to understand the load, I needed to understand how to stop the machine. They could take it all, but I needed to understand that right tone of voice. You know the voice, that smooth little bastard in your head, the one that says, you've had a shit day, one won't hurt. You are, go on, everyone does it. You deserve it. Start Monday, just get through tonight. That's not wisdom, that is not intuition, that's Bob in a cheap fucking suit running a PR campaign for your next relapse. And I had related to Bob, and I'd listened to him for years. Different substances, same mechanism. Alcohol, coke, cigarettes, food, chaos, anger, avoidance. The fuel changed, but the loop up here, stayed the same. So I stopped treating each behaviour like a separate moral emergency, and I started looking underneath. What is the load? Where is the pressure? What is the body trying to discharge? What emotion is being avoided? What need is being buried? What story is the mind selling? What state is the nervous system trying to reach? That became the foundation of my work, under load, behaviour as output, the emotional observation method. Eat, sleep, move, mind. Not because it sounds cute on a fucking worksheet, because if those 4 pillars are collapsing, your behaviour will tell the truth before your fucking mouth does. When you're underslept, underfed, overstimulated, inflamed, isolated, ashamed, stressed, and your life's running on fucking caffeine, trauma, and plain fucking pig stubbornness, you're not making choices from freedom. You're making choices from pressure. And that's why just stop is fucking lazy advice. Of course you need to stop. We know this. But if you do not change the load underneath, the system will find another pipe to release the pressure through. You stop drinking, then attack chocolate. You quit smoking, then live on rage. You leave the relationship, then build the same fucking prison with a different face. You delete the app, then find another screen. Same loop, new fuel. And that's why I do this work the way I do it. I'm not here to sell you a shiny fucking fantasy. I'm not here to tell you quitting alcohol makes your life magically perfect with dancing fucking unicorns and morning yoga, sunbeams and a fucking smoothie bowl. Some mornings are beautiful, yeah. Some mornings you wake up feeling like your soul's been wrapped in damp cardboard. That is recovery, that is repair, and that's your system recalibrating. But here is what I do know. You are not broken, you are not weak, you're not uniquely fucked. You're not a special case beyond help because you have tried before and gone back. You're a human being under fucking load, running patterns that once made sense, even if they're destroying you. That does not excuse the behaviour, it explains the mechanism. And when you understand the mechanism, you can finally stop punching yourself in the face and start changing the machine. And that's what I did. I stopped drinking, I rebuilt my food, I repaired my sleep, I moved my body, I got in cold water. I meditated. I observed the emotions instead of obeying every fucking one of them. Like a drunk sergeant major drunking fucking orders into my skull. I stopped asking, what is wrong with me? And start asking, what is this behaviour trying to do for me? And that question matters because the drink was not just drink. The cigarette was not just a cigarette. The coke was not just coke. They were attempts to change state. to escape pressure, to quiet noise, to feel powerful, to feel wanted, to feel numb, to feel fucking anything. And once I understood that, I stopped fighting myself like an enemy. I still held myself accountable. Do not twist this into some fucking excuse factory. Accountability matters, but shame is a terrible operating system. You can't help yourself from that side of it. You've got to remove the bullshit and build something you can actually hold. This is my origin story. Not a saint, not a guru, not a recovery mascot. Not a man who floated out of chaos on a cloud of herbal tea and perfect fucking boundaries. I'm a bloke who spent fucking decades using external things to manage an internal state. Alcohol, coke, cigarettes, work, food, noise, distraction. And eventually, I stopped asking the world to turn me down and started learning how to regulate the system that I live in. That's why I created the emotional observation method. That's why I wrote Under Load. And that's why I talk about behaviour as output. This is why I will keep saying it's not about willpower. It's not about labels. It's not about waiting for a rock bottom. Like that's some fucking sacred thing. You don't need to lose everything before you're allowed to change. You don't need to destroy your life to prove the problem was real. You don't need a dramatic ending before you can choose something as a new beginning. Sometimes the most powerful moment is quiet. No audience, no ambulance, no cinematic collapse. Just you alone with the truth. Finally, too tired to keep lying to yourself. And that was me. And if that's you, listen carefully. You're not waiting for a rock bottom, you're under load. And the work is not about to become a better liar, a better performer, or a better high-functioning mess. The work is to take the load off the system before the system chooses for you. And that's what I help people with. No bullshit, no labels, I'm not blowing smoke up your ass, no motivational wallpaper, just practical human change built from the inside. My name's Ian Callaghan. This is the work, and if your life looks anything like mine from the outside, but inside you're fucking struggling, pick up the wrench, start the work.